Like check-in stuff, like how like Whack 100 and them on the West Coast. If you're not from the West Coast and you go to fucking Cali and they're like, man, you need to check in. You got to check in with somebody. You got to have a connection, and that's how they are. A lot of these
Mm-hmm.
women, you got to check in like they're, like they're the one up in rank. Podcast with a purpose, the only podcast with a purpose.
Welcome to Coffee with Dad, a subsidiary of the Baby Daddy Podcast, the only podcast with a purpose. It's been a baby mama drama filled weekend. I guess
Yep.
until your kids turn 100, it'll always be that way. But particularly, I want to talk about DDG, who many don't know because he actually gained his notoriety to the masses for being for impregnating the Little Mermaid, Halle Bailey. Yeah. So the thing is, they was together in the beginning, and I was following the little relationship on social media because I'm always rooting for black love,
Yeah.
especially in its blooming stages. And I remember the baby being born. I remember before the baby was born, social media was like, "Why is she with him?"
Mm.
Like they do with any dude. I don't,
What
unless
was the
it's
reasoning behind that? His
Russell
background.
Wilson.
His background. What he was in.
They think she was too good for him, man. His background, he has made a success of himself doing some type of streaming, maybe even music. I'm not too familiar,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't know him, so I assume most women didn't know him.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really. Yeah, I'm not too familiar.
Right? So, but that was done. But she knew him because
She
she was
knew.
dating. So then she does the Little Mermaid, blows up even more. Now she's really in the public eye,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and black women love to kill a relationship. Why is she with him? What is the problem?
Mm.
There is no problem. Why do you guys keep saying that? But anyway, then she has the baby,
Mm-hmm.
and I got my eyes on it because postpartum and women.
Mm-hmm.
I've only dealt with black women in postpartum, so I can only speak on those that I know. It
Mm-hmm.
changes the narrative, it changes the game. How does it change the game? Because first, neither the male or the female really doesn't even understand or know that postpartum is in effect.
Mm.
But when you do find out, the man in particular has to gauge as to when is it postpartum or when is she just being a jerk.
Yeah.
Because as far as I'm concerned, my oldest child is 12 and postpartum is still in effect.
Yeah. You ain't
So
lying.
shortly after she had the baby, next thing I know is over with.
Don't it happen like that so often?
Over with. So then, you know, first thing they was complaining about, he gave the baby a lineup. Hey, man, that's a boy. He's the man. Let him line him up. Here comes the beginning of knowing everything about everything.
Yeah, pretty much.
Then DDG takes the little baby on the podcast.
Good, that's good. What does this mean? Wait. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's tough. Okay.
After the breakup,
Yeah.
introduces the baby to a popular podcast, Kai,
Mm-hmm.
introduces the baby to him in the world. The young lady is out the country, she said, when she sees this. And she lets the world know that she's going through postpartum and that she does not approve of him doing stuff without her consent.
Oh my God.
What do you feel about that, my guy?
That's to jump on a few. What stands out the most to me right off the bat is that basically that check-in stuff, man. That check-in stuff, like how like Whack 100 and them on the West Coast. If you're not from the West Coast and you go to fucking Cali and they're like, man, you need to check in. You got to check in with somebody. You got to have a connector, and that's how they are. A lot of these women, you got to check in like they're, like they're the one up in rank. You got to check in with me, make sure it's all right. You can't just be doing this and this and this and this. But when they have the child, they can pretty much, they got free reign. They don't ever call you and ask you if you approve of, who they're having around the child, where they're taking the child, what they're doing with the child, how they're dressing the child. But the minute you do anything, you got to check in with them.
Why do you think that us as men, we don't really trip on when, where, and how for the most part when it comes to the child being in their care and what they're doing?
So off the rip, us being logical, I know a dude usually is not going to have a problem with anything until something logical presents itself as possibly being an issue. Like, you might have this kind of person around my kid. That might be a problem. You might be bringing my kid into this kind of environment, which is the problem in itself. But as far as just her, in general, it's just like a baseless, a baseless point of view. Just because you're doing something, they don't know what you're doing, where you are, but they're just gonna assume that you know what I mean? You're doing something that's detrimental to the child, and that's just not the facts. You know what I mean? You could be saying, I'm going, you don't even have, but see, this is the thing. If the government and you are trusting me enough to have possession of this child, then I shouldn't even be having to really explain to you anything I'm doing, other than if it's something that goes beyond our arrangement. So if I have them, say if I had the kids from Friday to Sunday, the only reason that I should be contacting you is if Monday the kid is not going to be around to be dropped off or picked up. Other than that, anything that I do on a Friday through Sunday window, I shouldn't have to call and check in with you. Unless the kid got allergies and I'm trying to get the kid to try some new food. You know what I mean? I shouldn't have, and I don't know the ingredients. I shouldn't be calling you about nothing.
You said it, bro. Trust. The reason we don't give them a hard time is because we trust them. The
And their
reason
decision
they
making.
give us a hard time is because they do not trust us.
Do you think it's more so to piggyback on that, right? Before we go on, do you think it's that they don't trust us, right? Or do you think it's just that they feel like they're the boss? And how dare he not run, checking with me about everything? Do you think they really don't trust us? Because a lot of times, I think these mothers know that these are good fathers that are not going to do anything to harm their children, but they just want to give you a hard way to go. You know what I mean?
No doubt. But if you are a father in the house, so you're right. I totally agree. But also, if you're a father in the house, they don't give you those same problems because they can see. They don't have to trust as much because normally you're telling them your every step because we're in a relationship. You see?
Right.
So most times the relationships end because of trust.
Yeah.
Amongst other things. So when you become a baby daddy, they no longer trust you. That's just baby mama rule 101. They can fight it. And they may even, fight it for a while. But there's stipulations with that fight. If you start dating another woman, that little bit of fight that she had for that trust,
gone.
So they automatically, yes, they bullies, but they think they the boss. Only time a man really would complain that a woman is doing something he doesn't approve of is if there was another man involved. Because now we don't trust not you, But whoever this other person is,
Yeah, that's the
he
thing.
hasn't. Yeah, he hasn't been vetted. You see, we trust you, but we don't. But that's typically one, if not the only time that a man feels the need to put a tracker on the baby mama and his child.
Yeah.
But in reverse, it is always going to be the case.
Yeah, in reverse is always the case, no matter what. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
It's definitely the I'm in charge, you don't know, I know stigma that they most of them exude these days.
And you know
You
what's
know?
crazy is, right? Like, I'm pretty sure if they call and ask about whatever female you got around, you give them the utmost respect, answers, etc. I've heard of
Exactly.
situations where chicks are like, well, a guy will ask about like, well, yeah, who is this guy you got around? And they like, boy, don't even ask me who anybody is. You don't have the right. I'm the mother.
Right.
I'm the mother of this kid. I make all the decisions. How dare you even ask me, man? Click.
Mm-hmm.
You know, can't even. They don't
Don't
even logically.
don't let your baby go home and mention to the mom that me and dad's friend went out to have lunch.
Mm-hmm.
Now, oh, what restaurant? You know he don't eat
Yeah.
sandwiches at 12. Like, what
Right.
are you talking about? It's
Yeah.
lunchtime.
Young women, listen to my advice. If you're married and you think you're happily married and your husband starts to cheat on you, he's a piece of shit. And look at him as a piece of shit and get out of it. Get out of that marriage. But I couldn't do that. Couldn't walk away.
Didn't you have an affair early on in the relationship or when you were a stockbroker?
Yeah, but I don't think Andy ever knew about that.
He did say he knew about it.
He did?
Yes, you would confess to him.
Oh.
He says he didn't stray from the marriage until you told him you had already strayed.
Oh, that's not true. I don't think.
But what happened? You had an affair?
I had a very brief affair with a very attractive Irish man. And it was just nothing.
Now she's a felon.
Yes, she is.
Martha Stewart got knocked off for what, tax evasion or something like that?
Yeah. And she's
Stock
a
market
cheater.
fraud.
And she's a
Yeah.
cheater.
And she's a cheater. Is there any correlation? You see, I bet based on her answer when she said that it meant nothing, it was nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And first of all, she was shocked that the man even knew. Because if he didn't know,
Mm-hmm.
then then it wouldn't have been an issue. So she didn't
Right.
have any choice but to say the first ignorant thing that came in her mind
Right.
when caught out there for being a woman and thinking that that means there are no consequences. Now I
Right.
heard that Nancy Pelosi lady,
Yeah.
something with Visa going on with her. She pulled, she had got the inside trading. That's what it's called.
Oh yeah. Yeah. They be
Yeah,
doing that,
yeah, yeah.
man. Yeah.
What would your reaction have been as a man if you were sitting in the hot seat like she was at that exact moment?
To
Same
take
question.
to see. So I'm not gonna try to find to. I'm not gonna try to find a back door.
What would
That's
you
what
say?
she was trying to get the back door. I would be like, man, you know what? I got caught, or yeah, well, because she ended up disclosing that he knew. So I'd be like, I got caught, and I opened the door for her to cheat down the line. So really,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
What if you did? What if you did? That's a good answer. But what if you didn't know that she knew?
if I didn't know that they knew, but they cheated,
What if you didn't know
yeah,
that your wife knew that you cheated first?
I would be like, karma got me. You know,
That would be your answer to the interviewer. Karma got.
I would say that, yeah. I would
After
be,
you just was talking about how if a woman cheats on you, you shouldn't be with her. You're slandering women
yeah.
who cheat, and then all of a sudden in the interview, you find out that everybody know you a cheater too.
That's me, but that's
You,
because that's how I always say. I always say,
yeah,
the universe is gonna get the universe gets you. You get
right.
your due. So sometimes you do something and you think you got away with it, and you didn't really get away with it. You just got away
Mm,
with it in that moment. But eventually,
mm.
it's gonna come back full circle on you, and you're gonna be like, "Wow, okay, I done got
Yeah,
I got it."
she put herself in the bind. You see, because the truth of the matter is, if you, as a man, know you a cheater, it's highly unlikely that you would do an interview on a worldwide stage where you're bashing women as cheaters,
Yeah,
knowing that you're a cheater. It takes a certain type of individual, typically
yeah,
a woman,
yeah,
to have that type of
yeah.
bravado,
Mm-hmm.
gumption indeed,
Yeah.
to go like, and she was shocked that somebody even knew. And then she went to spit in the, to add insult to injury, she went to add in talking about how high he was, and that's why it was okay because he was from somewhere else, and he was highly
Irish.
attractive, and it
He was
don't
a
mean nothing.
highly attractive Irishman. It didn't mean anything. But
Now,
that's the logic.
how many women are walking around with that same logic? That's Martha Stewart.
A lot, I would say. Or a good,
That's
you know what I
Martha
mean?
Stewart. She
A
at the
good
top of the
amount.
food chain.
Yeah, she's at the top of the food chain, man.
And it's not that. It's not always. I mean, that's she was. Because she was dizzy because of the question. She had to be blunt. That's the best
But
she
you
could
see
come up
how
with it.
before he pulled out but you did this, women, remember,
Exactly.
all women she was addressing, if a man cheats on you, he's a piece of shit. So,
Exactly.
but then, is she a piece of shit for cheating?
Right.
Right.
That's what she should. That should have been her answer when she got
Yeah.
called out.
She should have
You
been like,
know
I'm a
what?
piece of shit.
I'm a piece of shit too.
Yeah. I would have been like, all right, bet. I'd have been like, all right, you get some clout points for that one. You had took some
Yeah.
responsibility.